Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing today? I'm here today to review a documentary about one of my favorite movie stars, Charles Bronson. And I wanted to give a shout out to my friend Mark Knapp, and also dedicate the video to him, and also dedicate to my friend Rita, and Rita will find out in a second why I dedicated to her. Um, Charles Bronson's always been one of my favorite actors. I think the very first thing I seen him in when I was real little was a unusual western called White Buffalo, which they didn't talk about in the documentary. The documentary is like 43 minutes long. And then, they had it. I looked through the Charles Bronson movie, and they had it, and it said not available. I looked a little further, and they had another version of the same thing that said available. It's weird how they list their movies sometimes on Amazon. And it starts off from humble beginnings. He was born in the Appalachian Mountains in Pennsylvania from Lithuanian parents, so he must be Lithuanian. That's why I dedicated you, because you're Lithuanian too. My buddy Mark, I'm sure Mark digs Charles Bronson. I'm sure Rita does too. And talked about him growing up in the coal mine and stuff, and then him going in the military. And then after the military, he had a bunch of different jobs. And then he got a job working at selling chairs in Atlantic City or something like that. And he ended up. Someone asked him if he could paint scenery at this one theater they had or something like that. And he started acting. And then eventually he started trying to act for movies and stuff like that. And he was in a bunch of like TV shows, like in some TV westerns and stuff. And I think the very first movie he got cast in was House of Wax with Vincent Price, which is a very big film, a very popular horror film. As Igor, Deaf Mutiny, he didn't have any lines. That might have been. It's possible that might have been his first role. He said he did it, but I think the people who cast liked his looks and stuff like that. A rugged, tough guy. He did a lot of westerns and played like the bad guys and stuff like that. And then he talked about being in Magnificent Seven. And then one thing I didn't know about, the one thing that made him, well, that's pretty big. He was one of the Magnificent Seven. That's a very big, huge movie. And then I talked about the movie that made him a star was a movie. I heard about the movie, but I didn't know he was in it. It was Kid Galahad, which I never knew Charles Bronson was in a Elvis movie as a boxing coach. And they go on to talk about, along with that, Great Escape, fantastic movie, and Dirty Dozen. And then it's weird. They talk about this thing, and they say he goes to Europe to be in some movies. They talk about Once Upon a Time in the West. And then they kind of take a leap. They talk about a team with Michael Winner being movies like The Mechanic and Death Wish. And then they take a giant leap. They mention all 5 Death Wish movies. Then they take a giant leap to 83 to talk about 10 to Midnight. And that, they were talking about he went to work for like smaller budgeted companies. Like Cannon, they mentioned Cannon. But they didn't talk about like White Buffalo. They mentioned White Buffalo at all. They didn't mention St. Ives and Telephone. Those are 2 very different movies. He did one, a dramatic film about coal miners on strike or something like that. I think that was really good. They mentioned that. They mentioned Stone Killer? I didn't want to call it Stone. They didn't mention the one he did with Anthony Perkins when he was like he lost his memory. That was a very different one. But most people don't know that one. Hey, Someone Behind the Door, I think. They left a lot of movies out. I don't know if it's not because they have the rights to them or what. I don't know. But they showed they had rights to a lot of other movies. I'm not sure. And then they mentioned, I forgot to mention, they mentioned Machine Gun Kelly. That's a movie he did for Roger Corman. I think that was his very first starring role. And in a movie that went to theaters and didn't do very well. And I remember in like 90 or 91, Columbia made a big deal of releasing some never before released movies from American International Home Video Market. I think there was 4 of them. I can't remember what the 4th one was. there was Machine Gun Kelly, which I never rented. I wish I would have. And now I find out it's free on Amazon, so I gotta watch it sometime and review it. That one, I rented the two horror films. Well, the one sci-fi and one horror film. The sci-fi one was It Conquered the World or It Challenged the World. Or something like that. It had the giant carrot monster. You see that at the very end with the giant fangs and stuff. Would look really silly. You saw that at the end of the movie. I mean, that was very entertaining. And then the Michael Landon one, I was a teenage werewolf. I saw my dad said that's the dumbest movie ever made. And then he said I was a teenage Frankenstein was stupider. I know Sharon, when I was in Fort Dearden, she said she hated that movie too. But I mean, I enjoyed the movie. You know, I guess like when he mentioned Michael Landon was on Tonight Show, he mentioned I was a teenage werewolf. Everyone was just clapping because maybe it was a fan favorite. I don't know. But I never rented Machine Gun Kelly. I had a chance to. I never rented it, and I saw it free on Amazon, so I got to watch it sometime to do a review of it. I like Charles Bronson. I haven't seen a Charles Bronson movie in a while. I've seen most of his movies, but when they talk about Death Wish, they did mention all 5 movies, and they increasingly got worse. So I did see Death Wish 4 in the theater, but I mean they went for a big leap to like Death Wish to 10 to Midnight, and then almost said Face of the Death, to Death Wish 5. And he said that was the last theatrical film he made. And he said in '98 he had hip replacement and he retired from movies, which I didn't know what happened. And in like 2004, I believe he passed away. But I mean, the sad is they leaked the whole big thing. They should have. It wasn't long. It was only 43 minutes. It wasn't long enough. They should go in depth about St. Ides and telephone, and then that serious film he did about the coal miners. I thought they mentioned that the drama. He has more of a drama. And they go into a lot of the canon films. They didn't talk about Mr. Majestic or they didn't talk. I mean, in the canon films, I mean, good or bad. You know, they talk about Kinjite, Forbidden Subjects, and the one thing that I didn't see whenever I think I saw Death Wish 5 once on Cinemax, a year or two after it came out. But I remember buying a box set. They used to have like the $5 ones at Walmart. Some of them they have 2 for $5, and it was Death Wish 5, and then Family Cops 3. I would love to see the other Family Cops movies. I guess he did some movies for cable after that. 3 and then there was 2 other ones or something like that. I've not seen those. I'd like to see them though. But I mean, I liked the movie. The biggest problem is it wasn't long enough. Only 43 minutes. I mean, they could have made a 2-hour one. They do 2-hour ones for everything else. They couldn't went in depth on the other movie to talk about. I mean, they didn't talk about White Buffalo. You know. That's probably they didn't mention Mr. Majestic. I was surprised about that. But, you know, I mean, I think it's incomplete. I mean, but I think they were like, I can't remember the people who hosted it. I don't think they were fans. I think they're just like film historians or something like that. But I mean, I thought it was very informative, very entertaining. Like I said, the only problem is it wasn't long enough. But I can't really blame the movie for that. Well, I can, but I can review it for what I saw in the show, 43-minute show, which is very entertaining. I give it a 10 out of 10. So this is dedicated to my friends Rita and also Mark. So hope you liked the video. Bye. Till next time, please. Take care, my legion. Yeah, like I said, big Charles Bronson fan. I mean, I'd like to find Kid Galahad. There you go, constipated. Got all confused and stuff. So, hope you liked the video. Bye. Till next time, please take care.